All right, welcome back to Step in the Box College Baseball. I have my first ever two-time guest, Braden Carmichael, left-handed pitcher from the University of Oklahoma. Braden, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me again.
Sir, so first of all, kind of what are your overall thoughts on how the season went? I know it's kind of a roller coaster for you, not only for you, but the team going through all that kind of stuff. So just tell me what your final thoughts are as the season wraps up and you start getting off season.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't ideal, but really looking back, there was a bunch of good things to take from it. I know personally, I learned a lot about myself and just about the game. And then obviously my first year being in the D1 environment at this university it was great. I wouldn't have traded a thing. Um, but yeah, a lot of work to do and to look forward to change some things next year.
What was maybe one thing looking back that you're like, man, I wish I could have just done this. I mean, obviously everyone has stuff that they want to do better, but like maybe one thing that you really wanted to like, damn, I really wish I could have like honed in on this better throughout the season.
Um, I think maybe just trying to find obviously it was hard just because I was in between roles. But just trying to find kind of like a set schedule. I felt like towards the end, physically, I started declining a little bit and felt like I wasn't recovering as well as maybe the first part of the year. And then just trying to stay physically right and then kind of get into that recovery schedule. And then if we want to get more pitching side of it, kind of felt like I got a little not lethargic, but just kind of trying to be too fine with things and kind of came back to bite me towards the end. And I, definitely don't want to be like that.
Mm-hmm. What was one thing that you felt that you did really well this season? Something that you want to like grow off of? Say, hey, this is a really good starting point of where I am with this certain part of your game, and what like just going on for next year. What are you looking to do?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of pluses to look at. I think I've proved that I can pitch at this level and then I can pitch with the best at this level. Obviously Arkansas is one I'll always look back at and just know that like if I pitch my game and I perfect my craft, everything will fall into the right place. So just building off of that and continue to perfect the pitcher that I am and not trying to be anybody else. And then just continue to get strong and maybe bump some velo and then towards as games go on and as I pitch, not to kind of lose that velo towards the end of the year, I would start to drop a little bit in velocity and probably just a little bit of strength wise getting late into the year. So definitely work from that. But other than that, I was really pleased.
So, I mean, you mentioned Arkansas. Is that your favorite start of the year, or do you have another one that was? I mean, obviously being the number one team is probably got to be at least at the top.
Yeah, that was probably my best just because even with the COVID percentage, I think there was still like 6,000 people there, which was the most I've ever done. I've pitched against, or I guess in front of. Um, West Virginia is kind of fun, obviously, but to look back, I didn't feel the best. It was freezing. It was kind of miserable. My stuff wasn't the best, yet numbers wise, it was one of my better games. So that's just the fun thing about baseball. That's how it works. And then obviously going down into Austin and beating them game three was a lot of fun. Not a big Texas guy,
Yeah.
so it's always good to do that.
So,
But yeah, those were probably one of my best memories.
yeah, for your performance at West Virginia, you actually got Big 12 Newcomer of the Week. So, congrats on that.
Thank you.
So how does that work? Do you have like maybe they email like the director of operations and he just tells you, hey man, you got Newcomer of the Week? How does that work? How do you find out about that?
I found out just like you did. I got a
Really
notification on Twitter, and that was that. So
funny.
I didn't really have an idea. I thought maybe there was a possibility, but
Mhm.
the same weekend, Justin Campbell at Oklahoma State threw a no-no. So I was like, "Well, this is good." So I don't know. It was a surprise, but maybe I want to get Big 12 Pitcher of the Week next year sometime. So,
Yeah.
but no, it's a blessing. It's one I'll always remember.
So I know when you were at the during the West Virginia game, was that the most amount of pitches that you've ever thrown in a game? 'Cause I mean, you were at like 125 or something like that when Skip pulled you.
Yeah, that was the most I've ever thrown in my life. I think maybe one time in high school I threw like 112, 114, maybe. Um, no, that was the most I've ever thrown. And like I said earlier, I didn't feel good going into the game, yet I threw the most pitches I've ever thrown in my life. So it's just weird.
Were
It
you
didn't
fight,
feel good after that.
were you fighting to stay in, or when Skip came to get you, were you like, I can't do it. I'm done.
No, when we went back out, I went back out in the eighth.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't at that point. I kind of thought we were going to score. What we needed like 3 runs for that run rule. So I was like, okay, if we score the 3 runs, let me go back out so I can get 3 outs. Well, we scored. We were up like 9-0. So mentally, I was like, well, what do I want to do? So he sent me back out there. And when I threw my warm up pitch, I was like, no, this has got to be it. This has got to be it. So I looked at him, said, give me one batter. So no, I was ready to get out of that point.
Yeah, because I mean, I think you had like, was it 10 strikeouts that game, and you said your stuff wasn't the best. So I mean, and you said it was freezing then. It was in like what, April or May, and it was freezing.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was the whole day. It was like a cold like rain.
Hmm.
Um, but that's part of it.
Plus, wasn't that a you guys had a doubleheader that day, so you had to sit through 3 hours of a first game in the cold and then go
Yeah,
out for
yeah.
the second.
So I actually got to stay in the hotel for a little bit while game one was going. So the hotel was right across the street. So my window actually looked over like kind of center fieldish, so I could
Mhm.
see half the field.
Okay.
And then I got a text that I could walk over. So I walked across the street with my bag like a little kid and showed up into the dugout. Well, then we went to extras. So I sat in the bullpen just kind of getting warm for however long it was, and we took the lead. So that made it a little easier.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we went right into it.
So was in the Big 12 championship you guys had, you played OSU the night before, and then you played Texas the next day, and the OSU game started at like 9 o'clock at night and didn't end till like almost 1 a.m. And then you had to turn around and play pitch against Texas, the number two team in the country, like 10 hours later. Have you ever had a quick turnaround like that in any sort of a game like that?
Maybe like in summer ball through high school. You play 4 games in one day. You wake up and Sundays at 8 a.m. So no, I haven't done that in a while, but I still got my 8 hours.
So, one person that you've maybe from this year's team that you're like, I wasn't maybe expecting them to like contribute this much, and they ended up being like one of your star players this year. Maybe some people like that. Who would you think that maybe one or two of those players are that kind of shocked the team and shocked OU in general with what they could do for this team?
I mean, everybody we kind of expected to put in some good role. I think personally, I was really proud of Carson Atwood. He was my roommate on road trips, so I got to get close to him as a freshman, and so I love seeing him just kind of come out and fit right in. Didn't flinch on the game, speeding up, nothing, even in the environments. So I'm looking forward to him coming back and having a bigger role. Everybody else, we expected them to do something, so no really surprises there. So if I had to pick, probably him.
Were you at all surprised by the amount of offense that Tyler Hardman put up this year?
No, and
Everyone expected it.
in the fall and inter squads, he was always one of the hardest to get out. So I wasn't surprised at all. He just hits, and it's fun to watch.
Was there anyone in y'all's inner squads who like had your number every single time it came up to the plate? Like you just could, no matter what you do, or maybe the other way around, someone who you owned all the time.
For someone, or I guess two people, would be our catchers. Mitch and Jimmy were always get hard to get out just because they call my game, so they knew
Yeah.
I was going to throw each count. So they were always kind of fun to pitch to. We would always get into it, and then just because I faced Brett in junior college, I still like to say I'm his dad and have his number there. So it's a good roomy battle we've got going on. So hopefully I can continue that one.
So I know sometimes like throughout the season you guys get like your certain like catch partners like before every game. Uh Maybe someone that you've like caught a lot in practice. Maybe like someone's pitch you think is like this is nasty and I would love to like have him teach me. Who would you say that someone that could like really help your game just because maybe they're smarter than you and like they're more advanced or someone that you like look up to who's on this team?
I mean, it kind of varied a lot just because I mean we were always bouncing around. But I played catch with Wyatt a lot, and I mean he's amazing.
Mhm.
Obviously, his fastball is just, it's fuzzy at the end, it's moving, and then his slider is about as fast as my fastball. So that says enough. I play catch with Ruffy a lot. Always good to play catch with those guys because they're older. They've been through it, so they're good to look up to. And then Taggart, I would play catch with Taggart here and there, and same thing. I mean, veteran guy, just played plenty of years. So I enjoyed playing with those three guys just to kind of look up to them and take some of the things that they said and kind of what they do to try and use that.
Mhm. So when you came into the season, obviously from the start, you weren't necessarily one of the frontline starters for this team. What were your kind of expectations on what you were? Maybe Skip told you, "Hey, this is what we're gonna expect out of you this year," versus what you actually contributed to the team this year.
You know, there wasn't really anything said for kind of what I would do. Going into the spring, I kind of expected just, kind of little lefty guy out of the pen to maybe face some lefties, get some guys out. Um, and then I guess early, it would have been in at Globe Life when I got that midweek start. Kind of had, okay, maybe I'll be one of the midweek guys because Taggart also started. So I was like, okay, we'll kind of split these midweek games. And then obviously the rest is history, and it kind of fell into place with that. But I mean, I had expectations for myself, and I knew what I wanted to do and what I could do, and so I wasn't really surprised in that sense. But I guess it all worked out pretty good.
So what are your now that you're because you're not playing summer ball anywhere this summer, are you?
No, just kind of I've taken some time off. Now it's just long toss and weights and get back into it.
So are you throwing off the mound yet? Or are you just giving it a few weeks to?
Yeah, just staying off the mound right now. It's probably in the next couple of weeks start getting back onto it and going through some bullpens and some simulated bullpens and whatnot.
Okay. So, are you planning on? So your goal is just. I mean, obviously everyone wants to get drafted at some point, but if it happens this year, maybe stay another year and learn from Skip, who's one of the best pitching coaches in the country. Is that your main goal right now? Just stay and try to learn as much as you can from him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'll get drafted this year. I don't see any reason to. And then yeah, I need another year to mature and keep growing, and obviously keep growing under Skip, and kind of have a different leadership role this year, and just kind of see what the team can do next year, and then we'll go from there next year and see what happens. If not, come back for a third year because COVID gave me another year, so we could do that if that's the case, which would be great. I mean, I love it here. Love playing baseball, so whatever happens, I'm all for it.
What would you say is maybe one piece of advice that you've learned from Skip in your just 1 year here that you think will stick you'll stick with you for the rest of your life? Maybe baseball or just as a person.
Really, just be you. Don't try and be anybody else. So for me, I don't want to try and go up there and just try and throw the crap out of it because I'm not going to blow it by anybody. So be you and don't go away from that. Try and perfect your craft day in day out and stick with it no matter what velocity says or whatever. And then compete. I mean, go out there and lay it all on the line for your teammates, the guy next to you, and things will come back to you in a good way. So yeah, just trying to be myself every time I step on the mound.
So who would you say is maybe one person? I know we talked about it in our first episode. You said Tom Glavine is someone that you look up to, who like probably that you can try to like idle your game after. I know Skip's always beat you, but there's always people you can like pull like pieces from. Who's maybe someone who's pitching right now that you enjoy watching every fifth day that they go out and pitch?
Ooh. The guy that I found myself actually watching more and more of is Trevor Bauer. Yeah, he's not a lefty, but probably just because he's got the vlogs going on
Mm-hmm.
now. And so I actually find him really entertaining. So I found myself watching him a little more. I wasn't really a fan of him going into this year, but I think I'm finding myself a little more of a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, I kind of like how he looks at the game, kind of has fun with it, while still competing every pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and each week he's tweaking some things, trying to find a way to get better, which I obviously love that. So yeah, he's probably one of the guys that I've watched a little more of this year.
So I want to take you back to your start against OSU. The first like 3 innings of that game, I was I was like 95% sure that there was going to be a fight break out at some point. I mean, so Peyton gets hit in the face, then Jimmy gets hit, then Jimmy almost takes out their shortstop or the second baseman, which it wasn't that hard of a slide. Just the scenario that they kind of,
Yeah.
the umps were a little soft that game when it came to that. But then I guess it was the top of the second or the top of the third. There were runners on like second and third, and you struck out the batter, and you just started yelling at the OSU bench. What did take me through your mindset of what was going on? Maybe did someone say something to you that you heard that kind of like set you off, or was it just bedlam rivalry?
Yeah, no, that was just the rivalry. I wasn't thinking at all. I'm not a very vocal and like I guess visual person like that with my emotions, so that was kind of odd of me to do. I think it was more of just like the rivalry and the emotions going into the game. And then whether Jimmy slide was on purpose or not, I don't know if it was, but I think it was kind of fun to maybe spark a little something to give the game some flair to it, which is it's always fun. I mean, it gives us more ways to compete. Um, and so yeah, that just kind of happened naturally. I don't know if I'll do that again, but no, that was fun. I think. I mean, growing up, I've always been an OU fan, so I've never liked any of the orange teams in our conference. So it was, I guess it was fun to maybe chirp a little bit, but yeah, I don't know if I'll do that again. I'll try and keep it a little more into myself.
Well, I mean, I'm like you weren't like attacking anyone's family or anything. It was just
Yeah, it's
just
just,
the heat of the game.
yeah, we're here to compete against each other and come out on top. But that was all it was.
The Skip maybe like come up to you when you were in the dugout and he's like, "All right, we're gonna knock that off," or was he kind of like, "I love this, let's go."
No, I think he was, usually he kind of likes us staying on our own side, but I think he understood the emotions of the game, and it's always a fun weekend to play against them. Obviously, a great team. So I think he was he was bought into it too, and we were having fun with it. So no, there was nothing said to us.
Okay. All right. Well, those are all the questions that I have for you. I appreciate you taking the time. This is the second episode with Braden Carmichael, left-handed pitcher for OU, and look forward to seeing you back at Eldell Mitchell Park. Hopefully starting what I'd love to see. Hopefully you starting Friday or Saturday nights for OU next year.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me on again. A lot of
Of
fun.
course.